Good morning. Working on this Coleman kt196. I swapped the Predator Ghost 212 on it, and yes, it does work. It's a little bit finicky. You have to get another bolt for the torque converter, but use the same shim. This one. Use the gold shim on the back side of it, and then assemble all of this together. Put your heavy duty shim on the outside. Make sure to get a washer and the bolt. I think it was a M10 something on this engine. It wasn't very big. So it took me probably an hour to put it in. I already had the other engine out. I was actually working on rebuilding it, but there's a few 10mm nuts. I think it's nuts that are on here that you can take off from the bottom side, but then you have a 13mm. Sorry, there's nuts and bolts, 3 of them, and then 1 nut inside of there on a fixed stud. Take this off, take your belt out of the way, unbolt the engine, disconnect the wiring harness from the switch up there. Make sure to disconnect your throttle. This again is the kt196. I was about to call it a KTX. It's not a dirt bike. Then you're going to be left with the throttle cable connected to the go pedal, as it calls it, and then all of this with your bracket there. Actually, the other engine up there is ungoverned completely and has electric start on it, so I'm going to end up eventually taking it back apart, finding out why I have the knock that I do, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the crankshaft lash. But I wanted to go through a tutorial here on exactly what is needed to make this Mikuni style carburetor work with the kt196. I bought this cheap throttle cable off of Amazon. I say it's cheap, I actually think it was like 29 bucks. Something like that. I don't know. I also bought this one. This one actually stretches the whole length of the cart, but this end of it is not correct, and it needed this style. Come on, focus. This style on the gas pedal side of it. So instead of fighting with trying to figure out exactly what I needed, I decided to relocate this throttle bracket, then connecting this throttle cable to this throttle bracket and cable, which will likely sit somewhere either here, that way I can move with the engine, or up here, because I have plenty of slack. It's not like I'm going to end up breaking it off. Oh, hey, you can only see my hand there. Yeah, I'm going to probably mount it here. I have enough slack. This is 50 inches. I mean, literally I can mount it anywhere on the back side of the engine, as long as it doesn't get caught up in the wheel, get caught up in the brakes, or the jack shaft that's over here. This phone does not want to focus. Or torque converter. You don't want to get caught up in anything, because that is a very dangerous ride if it opens up full throttle. Anywho, make sure just to leave your cable in place. You don't have to take all of this out like I did. I took it all out because I was intending on putting a new throttle cable in. And you do have to take the seat out. You have to take the center support out of the middle of it. You have to take the seat belts out of it. And then you have full access to everything that runs to the front. That's brake line, that's your shutoff switch, and your throttle cable. We may be utilizing that shutoff switch too, because it's a little sketchy trying to reach back here while driving. With the seat being in, it's going to be even more sketchy. This is only temporary. I intend on adding a fuel tank from a generator. It's almost the size of this. It's actually slightly larger. It's one of those flat top bottom feed fuel tanks. I mean, it is bigger, but it'll be fine. You don't gotta worry about the gas tank falling off. Why are you following me? You're my hemorrhoid. So if you do take all of this out, everything runs down the center. I mean, dead in the center. There's no skewing from center. That, of course, is probably not how it's supposed to be. But the other two cables are already ran out here. So I think I may possibly mayhaps rotate it around a little bit to be able to get it further down and out of the passenger's foot pedal. I thought about doing like not a shifter style, well I guess it would be a shifter style bar here in the middle, right along in here, as the throttle cable or the throttle lever. But I assumed that once my kids got on it, they would have it pushed all the way forward and run over one of the many cars that are sitting out here in my driveway. So I think the logical route to go here is replace the throttle cable back where it was. I've actually driven this down the road already the way that it was with this cable on it. That was sketch. But yeah, just do it back how it was and remount the throttle cable back here to somewhere else. I actually may end up cutting that off too to make it shorter, because I don't want 15 feet of cable just hanging about back here in the back. It doesn't look like it has a steel collar. Maybe it does. It may have a steel collar on it, so I may not be able to do that, but we'll see. This one is the Makuni style on this end, and of course the bullet style on that end. I don't know exactly what that end is called, but it doesn't work for this application. That's all I know. I mean, this one's too short for starters. If this is actually 70 inches long, then it would reach up to the front, but it's not, so I can't. Huh. Just thinking I could probably route that cable up across the top of this thing and land it back here or somewhere near the engine. I don't know. I'll figure it out along the way. But this is just a quick update on the wee little go-kart that could and does very quickly.